miscellaneous things, a registry backup using erunt. You can create a system restore point before you do anything.
Um,
The
going back to kill 'em all, can you do the whitelist right in D7 then
I'm
for
sorry.
kill 'em all? Could you do that whitelist for like say like you said team viewer? Could you do that in D7 for the kill 'em all whitelist?
You know what? I probably need to make a feature for that. Right now, it's just make a text file called KEA underscore whitelist and put in the executable names.
Okay.
There's really a lot that I need to do. It's documented well on my website, but as far as ease of use and ease of making a whitelist, I really need to get on that. It's just, where do I find the time? I'm always fixing bugs and adding features for people, and I have a list of things to do that is so long. Um, I don't know. But moving on down the line, I've got find move shortcuts, which is the next item, and directly below that, reset hidden volume. And what those two items are for, there's the ransomware that's out there right now that hides your desktop shortcuts.
Hmm.
Or actually, it hides everything on the entire volume and moves your desktop shortcuts to the SM temp folder. I'm sure you're familiar with that.
Yep.
Um, Luckily, they haven't changed the name of the SM temp folder that they move all the shortcuts to. Otherwise, I would be in trouble. But it basically, this seeks out the SM temp folder, copies all of the shortcuts back, and then attempts to unhide all of the files on the volume. So it takes care of that with one click, and you don't have to go manually digging for that stuff yourself. Then I have some custom apps that you can configure. The next thing, fixing killing pending rename operations, fix shell executable. Basically, that's for excuse me, that's for fixing your run value, your H key classes root slash exe slash open shell open command value. It fixes that for the exe files, for scr files, com files, reg files, etc. Remove policies, which removes everything. If I'm actually working on a PC on the domain, I don't use remove policies. I uncheck that option because there may be some domain policies there that I don't want to remove, because this removes absolutely everything without prejudice. Although you can leave it, and if you remember to do so, force a policy update when you're done with D7, of course. Then, of course, clearing proxy settings, deleting temp files, purging system restore, etc. And then we get to the scanners, which I include Kaspersky TDSS killer, because that's the staple. Um,
But,
right now,
if you go back just for a second before you start all of them, the
sure.
purging system restore, you're just purging all the extra restore points that have built up, or
Um,
resetting it and clearing them all out.
well, actually, I need to update the feature for Vista and 7. It does not work on Vista and 7, but for XP, what it does is deletes absolutely every backup file in the system volume information, period, except for the last 3 restore points. It leaves the registry hives only, because
Hmm.
sometimes you need those hives. Maybe you end up with a corrupt registry for one reason or another, or you need to put something back, essentially. So I leave those registry hives, but everything else gets deleted, because I don't want any malware in there
Right.
to survive. So
Okay.
it
Thanks a
pretty
lot.
much gets everything. Yeah. hmm So moving on, I get I start off with TDSS killer, which is a staple. Avast ASW MBR, which I've had mixed results with, but I leave it there because it's very popular. Hitman Pro, Malware Bytes, of course. Um, Some people have actually wondered about the legality of automating malware bytes, but they provide a certain amount of command line parameters for their free version to automate it to a certain extent, and it's completely fine to do. Just for the record, I'm not doing anything with malware bytes that involves send keys or finding a window and automatically clicking a button for you. I don't do any of that. All it does is automate it to the extent that they provide for you. So it does automatically update malware bytes initially. Then it starts malware bytes and runs either a quick or a full scan depending on how you have it configured. But the rest is up to you. Then we've got super anti-spyware, Gmer, good for those root kits, and of course Combo Fix, which is also a staple. Then we've got some more custom apps, some manual inspection things, driver view, which I find is pretty good for finding when a malware has installed a driver on a system, a file system driver or whatever for its own malicious purpose. Then we've got, of course, cur ports, auto runs, OTL, post removal. I repair permissions. That repairs the file system and registry permissions for all of the important folders, all of the user folders, the window folders, and all of the areas in the registry. HKey local machine and HKey current user, repairs permissions and sets ownership on all of that. Reset networking, which performs a bunch of NetSH commands, and repair lots of stuff. Actually, repairs lots of stuff. It's essentially it repairs WMI, DCOM, Windows Update Services, System Restore, Windows Firewall, networking services, the whole enchilada. And then, last but not least, we create a system restore point when we're finished.
Cool.
So,
Nice. Well, thanks a lot for going over all that. I really appreciate it, Nick. A lot of us, will download and be like, wow, this thing does everything, and not knowing exactly how it does it, things like that. If somebody wanted to register, do you have a price on that to get the full auto back?
I do. I do. I do. The registration is only $50 US. I think that's pretty cheap. I actually did have I have one guy complain about it, and he said that he'd been with D7 since the beginning. And I replied to him that, well, you've been with D7 for about a year now. That's about $1 a week. I think you can swing that. So he replied back and he said, you're right. You're right. So I think that's a fair price. Could have done a lot worse if it were up to my wife anyway. But I wanted it to remain as close to free as possible anyway. And actually, do you mind if I give a coupon code?
No, go ahead. Absolutely.
Awesome.
And
So if anyone's watching this right now, use the coupon code Podnutz. It's only valid for Google checkout on my website, and I'll probably expire that tomorrow. So go ahead.
Oh, you sure don't want to go a little longer, because a lot of people won't listen to this until they're going to be mad because they're not going to listen to it for another couple of days when it gets put up on the streams and stuff.
Okay, all right. I might go a little longer than there.
All right, cool. I mean, there are 35 people watching right now live, but there could be quite a few more, in a couple days. And do you have anything else that you plan? Any plans for D7 in the future, near or far? As far as things that you want to expand on or tweak a little bit.
Well, I'm always expanding and tweaking. I had a guy send me an email the other day with some additional things that I could add to my routine that fixes Windows Update Services, the bits and automatic update services. So I just spent, excuse me, just spent a little time on that, and that's in the last version or two. But I have a lot of things. I mean, as far as anything specific, again, I have a list. So there's always room to improve everything. I mean, I don't strive for perfection, but I definitely strive to improve. So everything in D7, there is always room for improvement.
That's cool. So, is there anything else you want to talk about D7 before we go to emails?
Um,
We've still got quite a bit of time, if you
okay.
want to, if you've got some
Well,
more stuff to talk about,
well,
or
and
anything
and
else
one.
outside of
Yeah.
D7 you want to talk about too, that's fine too.
Oh, okay. Well, I did just start. Actually, let me take this opportunity to issue a public apology for my sidebar. I introduced a new sidebar in D7, and the intention was a lot of people didn't like having to go to my online manual to figure something out. And my descriptions of some of the functions in D7 are not what they could be. So I introduced a sidebar that I attempt to, when you move the mouse over a particular item, just display a detailed description of what it does and how to configure it if applicable and etc. And I've had a lot of problems with that lately. So I have to do a public apology for that as long as I have the opportunity. I've had some problems with it. It actually uses Windows themes, uses the Windows theme service because I wanted to make it visually appealing. And for some reason, that's crashing a number of computers out there. And by a number, I mean three that I know of, but that's more than enough for me to make some changes. So I hope I've got that fixed with my latest release. And I apologize to everybody for any inconvenience that might have caused. So,
Cool. All right. Well, I don't think I've noticed the sidebar, so it must not have been something that I've seen recently. But I didn't crash my machine anyway. I would have definitely remembered that.
well, it wouldn't crash your machine. It would definitely crash D7. And actually, in the latest version, I introduced a feature. I left the sidebar as it is, and I introduced a feature that detects if D7 has crashed on the previous launch. So when you launch
Oh,
D7 again, it says, "Oh, I crashed before. Would you like to disable these Windows themes in the sidebar?" And some other things. So hopefully that's going to work out for people.
oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that sounds like a
but
good solution for her.
yeah, but that's about all. Unless I can actually also give a little respect to some people that have inspired me to do some of the things that I've done with D7.
Sure.
Um, I've got Just D at Computer Peripherals Unlimited. This is a place I used to work. Michael Beeman from the same place. Um, and actually, that guy, coworker or not, he even donated to me in person. That was pretty cool. Then I've got a lot of people on the Tech Nibble forums. I'm sure that they're out there right now. Maybe 34 of the 35 people listening are from the Tech Nibble forums. And
Possible.